I think it's extremely concerning. This is, number one, not the first time there has been a trade war between the two countries. We saw this back in 2018 when Donald Trump was first president. And at that point in time, I believe that China was in a far more difficult position than it is today. And the reason is very simple. China had not prepared for Donald Trump to be elected president. The entire world, quite frankly, had expected Hillary Clinton to be elected president, and that it would be basically the status quo. The way the world worked is the way the world was going to continue to work. And then Donald Trump gets elected. He tried in certain ways to engage with the Chinese government, with Xi Jinping. They had a couple of meetings. It didn't work out, and a trade war ensued. Now, that carried forward during the Biden administration. But what was more important was, during the 4 years that Joe Biden was president, the Chinese understood that they could not find themselves in the exact same position of being unaware or unprepared for another trade war. So what was very clear, especially here when we were looking at it in China on the ground, was a lot of the issues that Donald Trump in the beginning had identified as, oh, these are the weaknesses China has. China went about spending 4 years trying to address those problems here locally, so that the next time this happened, they would be prepared. And they did just that. They prepared, and then Donald Trump became president, and what did he do? Right away, within a month, he put tariffs on China. The issue, however, is the tariffs are going on all predominant goods, anything like Apple iPhones, baby strollers, electronics, batteries, you name it. Pretty much everything. The problem is, America doesn't produce anything. Essentially everything that is on the store in Walmart or Costco or Target is essentially sourced from China. So the issue at hand is, how are the Americans going to find an alternative to what it is that China manufactures? Now, the idea is that America is going to bring back manufacturing to the United States. As I like to tell clients, that sounds great on paper, but how long is it going to take? It's going to take a long time. Think of something as popular as an Apple iPhone. Tim Cook, the reason he's CEO, Tim Cook was the individual who built the entire supply chain under Steve Jobs as the chief operating officer. And he built that entire supply chain in China. So now he has what we call the golden handcuffs. He has this amazing ability to produce all of this electronics, but now they're going to get tariffed. They can't move them back. They're trying to move them to India. So the question comes down to, again and again, who needs whom more? Does China need to sell its products to the United States, meaning China's in the more weak position? Or is it America who needs China's goods, meaning America's in the weaker position? The way that I see it right now, and we're seeing new information come out day after day, it's very clear that the United States is in the weaker position. And allow me to give you specific examples why. So the United States first comes out and says China's going to have 65% tariffs and 125 and 145. Quite frankly, I don't even know what the tariffs are today on China, but they're over 100, maybe 200%. But then, and we can talk about this maybe in a minute, Donald Trump says he wants to buy TikTok, right? TikTok is supposed to be banned in America. The American government said it has to be banned. Trump came into power and said, I'm going to give them 90 days. We'll figure a deal out. 90 days came, 90 days went. What did Donald Trump do? Okay, we'll give them another 90 days. Because the Chinese do not want to sell TikTok to the Americans at all. And it's part of a much more complicated situation. Then what happened? Not but last week, all of these tariffs are on, and then Donald Trump came out and said, well, with the exception of electronics, we're not going to tariff, phones and computers and things like that. Everybody joked and called it the Apple carve-out, because Tim Cook would have gotten on the phone and said, hey, President Trump, you can tariff everything else, but you can't tariff our stuff. And Donald Trump said, okay, well, we won't tariff that. So if you look at the power that's going back and forth, it's Donald Trump who continues and his team to talk a big game, but if you look at their actions, what do you have? You have the Americans walking back, and then my favorite, Donald Trump is waiting and waiting and waiting for this phone call to come from Xi Jinping. You see every day you read the news, oh, a call is going to be arranged, a call is going to be arranged. I can tell you right now, and I've told clients for the last month and a half, there is going to be no call, at least from Xi Jinping to Donald Trump. Why? Right? I think time is on Xi Jinping's side, not on Donald Trump's side. So what happens? Xi Jinping gets on a plane and he goes to Vietnam, he goes to Malaysia, he goes to Cambodia, because he's trying to build a coalition of other countries who Donald Trump has also tariffed. Keep in mind, the Trump administration is not in a tariff war with China. Donald Trump is in a tariff war with the entire world. And that's not going to work. China knows that. So Xi Jinping traveling around is making a very interesting distinction because in, unfortunately, very typical American fashion, the American government is saying, you are either with us or against us. Pick. Is it us or China? Meanwhile, China goes around saying, you can be with the US, you can be with us. Why do you have to pick? Well, you can be with everybody. We don't want there to be this group and that group. We want everybody to try to work together. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to work, but it is unquestionable at this point, based on all of what has played out in the last month, that it is China that is very much in the position of having the strength in this situation. The only question now is, what is the US government, especially the Donald Trump team, what are they going to do? They will fold, but in typical fashion, Donald Trump will come out and somehow explain how it was a success, a big giant win. China will win in the end, and I'm trying to get this point out so that people have a better understanding of what the real issue is right now.